The story of Richard Wallace, his girlfriend Maya Brooks, and his son Jordan Wallace began like any other modern entanglement of wealth, desire, and power. Richard was a self-made millionaire in his late 50s, known for his sharp business mind and an even sharper sense of control over everything in his life, including the women he pursued. Maya was different from the women Richard had dated before. She was young, ambitious, and had a charm that made her irresistible. At 27, she was a rising entrepreneur in the fashion industry. While some called her a gold digger, others saw her as a woman determined to secure a future for herself. Their relationship started in secrecy. Richard met Maya at an exclusive social event. She was drawn to his confidence and the lifestyle he offered. He lavished her with gifts, luxury vacations, designer clothes, and a high-rise apartment in the heart of the city. But with those gifts came control. Richard expected loyalty, obedience, and exclusivity. However, Maya had other plans. What Richard didn't anticipate was that Maya would cross paths with his son, Jordan. Unlike his father, Jordan was warm, carefree, and emotionally available. At 30, Jordan was a talented musician, far removed from the cutthroat business world his father thrived in. He and Maya had an instant connection. At first, it was friendly, casual encounters at family events, shared interests, and innocent conversations. But soon, those interactions turned into something deeper. Maya and Jordan fell in love. When Richard found out, he was livid. To him, it wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. He had warned Maya multiple times. "You belong to me," he told her. "You don't leave me, and you certainly don't go anywhere near my family." But Maya didn't see herself as anyone's property. She had made her choice, and that choice was Jordan. When she announced her engagement to Jordan, Richard reached his breaking point. The months leading up to the wedding were tense. Richard made several attempts to dissuade Maya, offering her money, threatening her, and even trying to turn Jordan against her. But Maya stood her ground. She wasn't afraid of Richard anymore, or so she thought. One evening, Richard called Maya to meet him at an upscale bar, the same place where they had first met. She was hesitant but agreed, hoping it would be their final conversation. Richard sat at a secluded booth, a glass of whiskey in hand, his face unreadable. Maya arrived in a stunning red dress, her presence commanding attention. "You're making a mistake," Richard said, his voice low but firm. "No, Richard. I'm choosing happiness. You think Jordan can give you what I can. You'll regret this, Maya." Maya exhaled sharply, tired of his intimidation. "I love him. You need to accept that." Richard leaned forward, his eyes dark with fury. "You don't walk away from me and live happily ever after." She scoffed. "I already did." That was the last time anyone saw Maya alive. The next morning, Maya was found dead in her apartment. Strangled. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, only a chilling message written in red lipstick on the mirror: "I warned you." Jordan was the first to find her. He had been trying to reach her all night. When he entered her apartment, he collapsed in horror. His fiancée, the woman he loved, was lifeless on the bedroom floor. Detectives quickly pieced together the puzzle. Maya's murder wasn't random, it was personal. The suspect list was short. All fingers pointed to Richard Wallace. Richard was arrested but showed no signs of remorse. He denied everything, claiming Maya had enemies and that he was being framed. His wealth afforded him the best defense attorney's money could buy. The trial became a media sensation. The public was divided. Some saw Richard as a scorned lover, others as a manipulative predator who couldn't handle rejection. The prosecution argued that Richard had an unhealthy obsession with Maya, treating her as a possession rather than a person. Jordan took the stand, his pain evident. He spoke about how his father had threatened Maya, how he had tried to control her even after she left him. "I know my father," Jordan said, his voice breaking. "If he can't have something, he destroys it." But Richard's lawyers painted a different picture. They pointed out the lack of physical evidence tying Richard to the murder. There were no fingerprints, no surveillance footage, and no witnesses placing him at the crime scene. They suggested that Maya could have had another enemy, perhaps an old lover, a business rival, or someone from her past. The jury deliberated for days. The evidence was mostly circumstantial, but the motive was undeniable. In a shocking turn, Richard was acquitted due to lack of direct evidence. He walked out of the courthouse a free man. The public was outraged. Jordan was devastated. Maya's family demanded justice, but the law had spoken. However, the story didn't end there. Months later, Richard was found dead in his mansion. A gunshot wound to the head. Beside him was a note that simply read, "Justice finds its way." The case remains unsolved. Some believe Jordan took revenge. Others think someone else, someone unknown, delivered the justice the courts couldn't. One thing was certain, Richard Wallace thought he could control everything. But in the end, even he couldn't escape the consequences of his obsession.